we are at that time of the year in going into spring. And spring in the United Kingdom and in Europe,
my goodness,
and in many of the northern hemispheric countries represents a new plague of the time. And it is a plague because more and more people are suffering from the most severe cases of it. And for those who are beginning to understand what I'm talking about something that comes in every season. It is pollen. It is something that can trigger the immune system to completely erupt like a Mount Vesuvius, like one of those volcanoes that you would hear about in Greek mythology. Now, let's bring up the first slide, because I think I want to really emphasize this problem, which is becoming now, whereas before, 15, 20 years ago, it was about taking an antihistamine. It was about taking a simple tablet, and that was the end of it. You'd get some itchy skin, well, put some aloe vera on, put some cream on, put something your grandmother made in the cupboard and apply it. So now, however, it has become much, much more than that. And it's a very complex combination of toxins, the heating up of the earth, as well as the horrendous increase in certain agricultural practices that have led to this insane increase in pollen counts that is now causing havoc among so many people. And it's big business. So yes, they were in a sequence, these pictures that I had asked for them to put up, but that's fine. This is good. Let me just bring up the pictures here on my end as well. And you can see here, this is something that many people will jive to this image, and it will bring tears to their eyes, because there are people that go through this.
With that.
Yes.
I mean, not the best place to stand if you do suffer from hay fever.
Yes, but this is the thing now. How do you escape it? Is the question. Now they're recommending, experts in immunology are recommending, those people who are specialists in asthma medicine, they're saying, well, during these times, just keep your doors and windows and everything locked in your house from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, how is a person supposed to live, right, in that sense? But this is the problem. It's a ubiquitous problem. It's all over the place, and it's something that people have to deal with. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about allergic rhinitis. And the previous slide, it was showing the main symptoms that come into it. And let's keep going. Let's move forward. And this is it. So this is what you get. And the worst things are those people who get these sinus pressure headaches, which is the swelling and inflammation of the sinuses inside of your skull. This is very debilitating. You've got the postnasal drip, you've got these circles around your eyes. It's basically a histamine explosion that happens in the body, because the body is looking at this pollen as a disease-causing organism. And if the body recognizes a disease-causing organism, it explodes into action. But the response is crazy. And why is the response crazy? Because I don't know if people remember the headline that I showed a few days ago, which is showing that there are over 200 toxins. This is it, the toxic cocktail study in European countries.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Yes, and this is part of the reason why the problem is as bad as it is, and the immune system is so haywire at the moment. And it says 40% of pesticides were discovered in dust linked to toxin effects, including cancer and hormone disruption. So it's not just the allergic rhinitis or hay fever, it's also cancer and hormonal disruption. So yeah, let's keep going. And we'll see in the next image some of the treatments that are available. Yes, so this is now coming to the treatment option. So the first thing that we have is eye drops. This is sodium chromoglycate. These are expensive. Now, yeah, they're expensive. So to get a good brand that works can cost you anywhere up to £5, £10, £15 in excess of that. So this is something that, of course, washes away and coats the eye so that the pollen cannot stick to the surface of the eye, the conjunctiva, and trigger the swelling, redness, and pain and itchiness in the eye. So that's one thing, and there are many other types of drops, but this is the one that I'd recommend if you want to start off with eye drops. These, of course, everybody will recognize. These are the antihistamines, the most used types. They come in many different strengths and formulations. These are the three that are used that are not, they don't cause drowsiness, and therefore they are used more often. And any one of these are really good, but they have to be taken on a daily basis. And they are the cheapest out of the treatments that are available for hay fever and allergic rhinitis. Now look at this. This is a big list of different types of antihistamines available. But the reason I showed this is very simply because the systemic one is just an antihistamine that you take as a tablet. Now, the ones that cause the most powerful ones that you might find benefit from are actually also the ones that cause you to feel the most drowsy. And if you look in the first generation, in that first purple box on the left, it says chlorphenamine. This is Piriton, which is a very useful one, and you can take it multiple times a day, but it will cause you to feel sleepy. The one that we recommend using as a first line is in the second generation of antihistamines, loratadine, cetirizine, under the first list there. And of course, these are the ones that are the most commonly used, and I would recommend people use them and alternate between them if they find that using one too frequently is not having the same effect. Cetirizine and loratadine are good. And then in the third generation, you've got that one at the very bottom there. Actually, the bottom two, desloratadine, is showing a lot of promise now for those people who are not getting the desired effect from cetirizine and loratadine. If you want to try desloratadine, it may do the job. And fexofenadine is one that is very commonly known as Allegra, which is also very useful for those people who are not responding to the normal antihistamines like cetirizine and loratadine. They come under many different brand names. You've heard of Benadryl, you've heard of all these different brands, but these are the active compounds they use. The companies, by putting their name on it, can charge you double the amount of money.
Oh my goodness.
But the active medication, is the reason I put the slide in, is exactly the same. So I can get 14 tablets of cetirizine for 1/4 of the price of if it was being sold by a company putting its name on it.
My goodness.
Okay, so imagine the markup. It's the exact same thing, and people just don't know. They're just like, oh, this has a fancy cover around it. This is Allegra. This is Piriton. This is this. It's a recognized brand, like Calpol, for example. Like, people buy Calpol. Now, that's double the price of paracetamol, which comes as an oral suspension. It's the same medicine and the same liquid. Maybe the strawberry flavor is a little bit more advanced, but the thing that actually
makes it a bit easier,
benefits you, and yeah, that's also with kids, it's worth the extra money, right? But my point is that the company Calpol, they will put their label on it, and they'll charge you double the amount for the exact same thing. And this is happening a lot in the antihistamines, and I just wanted people to be aware of that. So now we've talked about the eye drops, we've talked about the tablets and how they help with the symptoms of hay fever. And the third in the trinity of treatments is the nasal sprays. And this is probably in my opinion, if you've got symptoms of rhinitis or runny nose and inflammation of the sinuses, this is the best treatment if you use it properly. So let's bring up the nasal spray technique. It's a very easy technique to use, and most people, if they use it properly, they will find they get much better results. So this is Alia. Is for those people who use sprays that are either steroid-based sprays or decongestant sprays. You can also get them as a combination by paying a little bit more. You can get the steroid and decongestant effect in these sprays. So look at this diagram here. Now, most people, they would put the spray into their nose, and they would put it directly in line with that red dotted line in the middle, which is showing where the septum is, that part of the nose that separates the two nostrils, and they would spray straight up in that direction. However, this does not cause the medication to enter to where it needs to go. So what you do is, as shown in the diagram, is you direct the spray away from the septum, slightly pointing towards the outside of your eyes, and then you give it a good 2 or 3 sprays. This is after you have shaken the bottle and you've initially sprayed to make sure the sprayer is working correctly, because sometimes something can block it. So sometimes the medicine is not even leaving in sufficient quantity. So make sure it's spraying properly, shake it, and then point it away from the septum and spray. And this will cause it to reflect back into the sinuses where the problem lies. And like I said, there's some really good ones on the market. Steroid sprays work a bit slower. Decongestant sprays you cannot use for more than 7 days. So stick to the steroid sprays, be patient with it, and it will work if you use it properly. And this is a diagram that compares all of the different methods of treatment. You can see here antihistamines, nasal steroids with examples, and decongestants, which we just spoke about. And you can see here that decongestants, if you look under how long does it take to work, they work much quicker, whereas steroids can take up to 2-3 hours to kick in. As far as the rest of it goes, you can see how nasal steroids are very expensive. Minimum £10 for one steroid spray, and it'll last you for maybe a few weeks if you're using it regularly. So the most effective thing, but it's also the most expensive thing. Right, so this is what the medical treatment is. Now, we need to understand that we have to tailor the medical treatment now and adjust it according to the conditions of the time. So if meteorologists are telling us that last May 2024 was the hottest May on record and pollen counts went through the roof, then we have to make adjustments. And if the scientists are also telling us that heavy amounts of toxins and pollution are causing our immune systems to overreact or become hyperactive or cause autoimmune problems, then we also need to deal with that issue. It can't just be a case of managing the histamine explosion that's happening in the body that's mopping up all those inflammatory cytokines that our cell produce in response to a perceived threat, but we also have to deal with the toxins. And this is where the next part of the treatment plan comes in. And I've picked out these three toxin binders that I want to now bring to your attention. And this is something that should be started in the early part of the season, just in the first part of spring, which we're in, or just before spring. Probably start doing it in early March, end of February, which is where you are removing toxins from your body that is upsetting your immune system. So let's bring up the first thing on the menu. Drum roll. Right, this is something we've talked about before.
Looks very familiar.
It is a beautiful thing, and I know the people who take it swear by it. There's an individual in our MCR room who uses it, no naming. But this is something, this is awesome. It is cheap, it is effective, and it is readily available. It is something you can pick up for 15. I would recommend picking it up for 10 to 15 pounds if you're in the UK. Anything less than that is usually not as effective. They come in this powder pill form, capsule form, which is better than the tablet form. It's better absorbed, it has better effectiveness. And this is, you take basically, depending on your needs, you take 2 to 3 of these tablets just before or after a meal. And you will find that this stays in the gut and it binds in the gut. It doesn't leave your gut, it is not absorbed into the bloodstream, and it binds to many different types of toxins and removes them from your gut.
And you didn't mention what it is.
Activated charcoal. This is why you're here, Alia, to help me when I need you most.
I was waiting for that big moment.
The big moment. I built up the crescendo and then I didn't deliver at the end. But activated charcoal, awesome, cheap, very effective at removing toxins. If you're on a budget, this is the toxin binder for you. Use it as it is directed, because the different companies have different quantities. It's not all the same amount. Some have 1,000, some have 3,000 milligrams. So just take it according to the directions of use. But activated charcoal, absolutely awesome toxin binder. What's next? Now, if you are somebody who has a slightly bigger budget, I would recommend chlorella, because sometimes the activated charcoal can cause a bit of bloating. It can cause a little bit of heartburn for those who have a susceptibility towards getting indigestion. Chlorella is the next thing, and this is
emerald color.
Beautiful. Yes, you can get it in powder form, which is what I think some of the people here actually prefer to use in powder form, because they mix it with milk and it has a very high protein content. And in fact, it's from algae, and chlorella comes from chlorophyll, which is of course the thing, the substance in vegetables and plants that gives it the green color. And this is absolutely awesome, very powerful. I would recommend it. Now, this is something that I would use if I would prefer it to the activated charcoal personally, because it has works better for me. I get a few more problems with the activated charcoal, which is why I've given you 3 different options, and this is the second of the 2. An amazing toxin binder, very high in protein, chlorophyll from a plant source. So if you are somebody who is a little bit more sensitive to the charcoal, then shell out a little bit of extra money and get the chlorella, powerful toxin binder. And third in our list is this one, zeolite. Now this is amazing. This is basically derived from volcanic ash, and it is powerful.
Talk about
just
Mount
like
Vesuvius.
Yes,
you mentioned
exactly.
Earlier.
Mount Vesuvius is erupting, so this is going to quell Mount Vesuvius down when that histamine is being spewed out. Now, zeolite is very, very good. It has a very neutral taste. It doesn't have a sort of, when you visualize volcanic ash, you would think that it would make you just gag off the smell, but actually it has no odor, no smell.
Wow.
And,
so I haven't heard of this ever before.
Yeah, this is really...
Please explain a bit more, like what's going on here?
Yeah, so basically what you do is you get this in powder form. There are different sizes where it says premium ultra-fine microionized. That is the best one. In fact, that's the one I'd recommend. And the reason I put it third is because it is more pricey, but you get what you pay for, right? So
how does it work?
It works, again, by the same principle as the chlorella. which is when you consume it, you mix it with water basically, you put in a couple of those spoonfuls of it, you mix it in and you drink it down. And it again does the same effect. It binds with toxins that are present in your gut.
Interesting. I wonder who experimented with that.
Oh, this is being used in the mainstream. There's now an industry in
who decided,
antitoxins.
hey, let's take this volcanic ash and see if it does some good.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Where did this come from? Like, who thought this thing that the chicken has just given an egg let's crack it open and fry it? True. You know, I mean, where did that come from?
We could ask that question, I guess, about a lot of things.
A lot of things. See, this is a very good question. And what came first, the chicken or the egg? But this is a very. I think this was used many years ago. It was used in the past as
ancient
a detoxing
remedies.
agent, ancient remedies. But I will look into that and get back with an answer. This is the best of the 3 different options. If you're somebody who has real hay fever problems, really severe hay fever problems, despite the fact you're taking the nasal sprays, the eye drops and the antihistamines, then get yourself some zeolite, invest a little bit more money in this, and use it just before the onset of pollen season, and get those toxins out to calm your immune system down, or to just reorient it so that it responds normally.
SubhanAllah. So it really is medicine of the Mahdis. Get yourself some volcanic ash.
Yes. Antihistamines, bye-bye. Now, the next section is, we know, look, food allergies and hay fever and pollen is related. So we know, for example, that strawberries, kiwis, apples, just to name a few, they actually increase hay fever symptoms in people who have allergic rhinitis. So there are certain foods that are, they worsen, they exacerbate the conditions of hay fever allergies. There are certain foods that lessen them, and lessen them dramatically. So the ones that are the top powerhouses that I would highly encourage those people who are not getting the results with traditional antihistamines is to use these 3 power foods. Number 1, garlic. Yes, garlic taken fresh, crushed, is amazing. You can put it into your salad, you can have it by itself, or you can mix it with the second powerful food, which is honey. And the best honey is locally sourced honey that the bees are using to make the honey from the pollen. Very powerful. Now, if you have the audacity and the fortitude of mind and spirit, then crush the garlic into the honey and have it this way. This is very powerful. And for those people who have suffered the worst types of hay fever and pollen allergies, for them it will be a cakewalk. It will be a breeze in the park.
So they take the garlic, they crush it, they add it to honey, and then they just
consume it. Yes. And you can actually make a little jar of it and have it every morning. Have a couple of spoonfuls in the morning, have a couple of spoonfuls in the evening. And the third very powerful food that contains ingredients that prevent histamine blasts and reduce inflammation is onions. Onions. And the most concentrated in the active ingredients are the red onions. They are the highest in quantity. So these are 3 powerful things that you can use. Ideally best to take them by itself. So you chop the onions and you take them, but if that's too much, then you can certainly mix it in with a salad and have it this way. The reason I say it's best to have the onions separately is because the salad may contain other foods that promote, like I said, strawberries, kiwis, we know do this, they worsen hay fever, is to have it by itself. So if you can, have the red onions, chop them up, eat them, and consume them as often as you can, and you will see the very powerful effects of these foods. These are extremely powerful foods, these 3, the Holy Trinity, that is, if your motto is let food be thy medicine, and you haven't been convinced of the Trinity that the doctor gives, then honey, garlic, and red onions. Buy them and put them to the test, and let me know how you responded to the treatment. I am very keen to get feedback from the people who use these remedies, and that way we can even refine them and think of more intelligent ways to put them into the treatment plans for those people who suffer from allergic rhinitis.